Clouded Mind Show is filmed live in New Jersey where recreational cannabis is legal. Please use cannabis responsibly and in accordance with your local laws.
Hey friends, it's time for another new episode of the Two Clouded Mind Show with your favorite hosts, Chris.
I have a very caveman brain.
And Dave.
Recording in progress.
In front of our eyes.
Subscribe to the Two Clouded Mind Show on YouTube
See our pretty faces.
and everywhere you get your podcasts.
Two Clouded Mind. Two Clouded. Come on.
Two Clouded Minds, baby. I love you guys.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Two Clouded Mind Show. That's right, it's Wednesday, and we're back. David,
Chris,
how are you, bud?
awesome. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty excited. This is a weird kind of episode. I mean, first of all, we have a special guest. He's been on the show before. This is your first official time meeting him.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know him as the Dragon, the Snack Sommelier. That's Geoff Clark.
Hello and welcome.
What's up, homies?
Dude.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good.
I just stepped on David's toes. My bad, dude.
No, you're good. Hello and welcome.
What's going on,
Thanks, man. I'm pumped to be here. I'm excited to be able to talk football with you guys and just shoot the shit. This is so much fun. The first time I was on, the only other time I was on, which shit had to be 2 years ago at this point, right?
I look back, it was just over a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
It had to be more than a year because I've been here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you're probably right. It was closer to 2 years because it was Ryan.
Yeah,
and
there.
I.
You
Yeah.
had another host, Ryan, on there, and you had a female producer.
That's right.
Who-
Right.
I'm assuming you fired because she got pregnant, right?
Of course, duh.
Now that there's two of you, you're too heavy for this shit.
Yeah, exactly. She was bringing us down, man.
Oh my goodness.
I'm kidding. No,
We can't feed two of you.
we can't even feed ourselves. Shit. Holy crap. So yeah, we brought Geoff on to talk football. They're gonna kind of be more leading this conversation. I'm gonna chime in. I was given an assignment
Mm-hmm.
to have my predictions for this season. Now, is this the 24 season or the 25?
Well, what year is
season?
it, Chris?
But like it's 2024, but it changes mid-season, right?
It changes towards the end of the season, but it's
So
still
they count it for 24?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In Chris's defense, the Madden that's coming out is Madden 25.
Yeah, and the
Is
college,
that kind of what you
and
were
college
meaning?
football 25 too. So yeah, it is very confusing.
That's why I was confused, and I got to ask these questions, man. I got to ask them.
That's fair.
Well, I know I'm with you, dude. Dude, I write this shit out all the time, but whenever it gets to the playoffs, it's always the next year after. So most of the NFL season is that year. I think the entire regular season is 2024. Then the postseason goes to 2025. So from like a nerdy writing it perspective, it is kind of a pain in the ass. I hear you. But it was funny to hear David give you a little shit because, like, what year is it, buddy? What year? I mean,
And did you? I stumbled for a
you
second.
could
I was like,
if you said 2024, you couldn't have been wrong, right?
You're
You
right.
would have been
You're right.
accurate.
So,
So
Geoff, you alluded to writing. So let's start there.
right.
Let's start there for people who may not have seen the episode you were on before. And for me, like, for example, this is our first time really having a conversation. I know that you work or you write for Outkick Bets. So tell us a little bit about what that is. Tell us about like what you do there and all that good stuff, please.
Well, I'm strictly the betting guy for Outkick. They're I think they would categorize themselves as right wing. They work under the Fox News umbrella, so a lot of the commentary is going to be more Republican or right leaning. But I just serve out sports bets to Republican readers. I look at it like Michael Jordan did when he was flipping shoes. He's like, hey, Republicans buy shoes too. Republican sports bet too.
Yep.
So, but yeah, a lot of the content on the website is like a pop culture with a tinge of republicanism to it. I don't even know if we call it republicanism, but yeah, I operate in like a fucking silo out there, just cooking up sports bets, and they let me just do my thing, get in the lab, and cook up bets.
Now,
So it's good in that sense. But I also do the podcast that Chris was mentioning earlier, the Mad Scientist Party Hour alluded to. So those are kind of those are my two production, I guess, endeavors.
I forgot what I was going to say now. I really do forgot what because he had just said something that triggered something
And
from
then it
5 minutes ago because
right out
when I
of the-
introduced him, I didn't say Mad Scientist Party Hour, and I feel like an asshole now.
Well, we would have gotten to it. We're laying
I
it
just
all out.
crowbarred it in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We're,
Okay, good,
we're laying
perfect,
it all
yeah.
out.
I'm not a professional.
On Outkick Bets, you,
neither.
not only do you cook up bets, but you also write articles, right?
Right. I write up articles that are essentially my picks. Sometimes I'll do some non-betting stuff. I mean, it's very rare. Like during like when there isn't football season last year, I did a review of the Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary on Netflix.
Okay.
Or I got kicked off of Twitter once for threatening IBM Watson and saying that we should murder him, which is a machine. So I wrote an article about that, like pretty much saying how cancel culture got me and I'm kicked off of Twitter. But other than that, it's mostly writing sports betting content. And I do a sports betting podcast. It's Outkick Bets with Geoff Clark.
That's
Now,
cool.
for like, this is probably a dumb question. For the betting end, did they give you like a per diem? Did they give you like here's a mountain of money, bet this, or is it just all your own?
Yeah, no. I wish Fox, they have a mountain of money. I wish they'd give me some fucking money. Give me the corporate card.
Yeah, right.
No. All the
Okay.
bets that I win and lose are self-funded.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, it's really just a writing gig. Like, and it's pretty chill. Like, I don't have a set schedule. Like, I just write what I want to bet. And because there's always something to bet, I always have something to write. No one bothers me. And I just fucking write kind of at my will or at my leisure.
And I'm assuming football season is like that's like the biggest take for the year, right? As far as
For
like
sure.
betting and all the other stuff that comes with it, the analytics, and I don't know what I'm saying.
That's fine.
I'm with you. The NFL is the king. It's the king of sports betting. It's the king of sports. It's the king of sports media. The most page views that I will get every year will be for football. And the biggest bets that I make every year for football,
Okay.
I take betting on the NFL more seriously. I take it all seriously, but I take this the most serious because I win or lose the most money on it. You know?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now,
Every year I play in like this thing called the Circa Million, which is it's a season long NFL betting contest. You put 5 picks in every week against the spread, and then the person with the highest winning percentage at the end of the year wins $1 million.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it pays down 100 places. There's quarterly prizes, but I think last year there was 5,750 people or 5,275 people. I think that was the official number. So it's fucking hard to do, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
hard to do. I was in the 94th percentile last year and I didn't make money. Like that's how hard it is.
Jesus Christ.
That sounds
Yeah,
fun.
so I'm
though.
pretty
It
much
does sound fun.
oh, I fucking love it, dude. And it's even more addicting. Like it's an addiction on top of an addiction. Like I love sports betting. Like that's like my favorite shit to do, my number one hobby. And then this contest like just kind of takes over my life in the fall.
That's pretty funny. Well, I mean, for a good reason. $1 million is a lot of money.
Yeah,
That's good stuff.
that changed your life.
But I mean, well, yeah, definitely. But, and if it's paying out the top 100, then you still got a chance to make some money throughout the way.
Yeah.
So, what makes a good bet? What makes a tasty bet? Like, you know, how do you pick them? How do you decide which ones to pick?
I mean, a lot of different factors. I call myself like a handicapper. Like I'm not someone that produces models via Excel or Google Sheets. I just like to read a bunch of stuff. I consume the data. I look at what teams do well, what teams struggle with, and if I can exploit like a mismatch in the games that I'm looking at, for instance, I like to do most of my betting like regular season game betting. And I know really what we're going to be talking about when we get into the meat of things is our predictions for the season. Those are
Mhm.
actually smaller bets that I make, and I spend a lot of my time just betting just games. But I'll look at everything from stats to betting splits to injury reports, all sorts of different things. I mean, because I do this professionally, because I'm a salaried employee, like I effectively use it as an excuse to sit on my ass and look at sports all day and just like study sports stuff.
That's cool as fuck, though. I mean, like, that's your job.
Yeah, you got to do the homework. You're watching the film, you know,
And it's something
Right.
that you love. So dude, that's
Living the dream.
awesome. Yeah.
living the dream.
I mean, I'm sure it has
Dude.
its moments where it might get stressful at times and stuff, but still, I feel like that's awesome.
Yeah, like my two jobs are MSPH. I mean, jobs, MSPH, and the sports betting thing. So I get paid to tell fart and dick jokes and write about sports betting. Like I essentially have a pretty sweet life, right? I live 2 blocks from the beach. Like I'm a very lucky person. I haven't been so lucky in golf this year, but NFL I killed it last year, and I'm excited for the season to start.
That's awesome.
What's the longest sort of drought or whatever losing streak that you've ever been on?
The NBA earlier this year was pretty bad. I don't know, like the longest is tough. Golf was bad this summer, and the NBA was pretty bad. I got down like 27 units, which is just like another way of saying like whatever your regular bet is.
Mhm.
I was down 27 of them. For me, I have a pretty high pain threshold, so 27 units kind of hurt. But I ended up rallying back and getting down to minus 10 by the end of the year. But dude, it felt like every day I was just giving out losers to these Republicans. Like, here's another loser.
Oh, man.
I just kept losing everyone money, and they probably weren't happy. But hey,
They got enough of
I
it.
got
Well, look, it's
yeah,
it's
Eric.
it's their job to decide. You know what? I got to fade this guy every pick now or every week now, and make my money. And they if they weren't fading you, shame on them because they you know what I mean.
That's a great way to look at it, dude. Totally. I mean, the worst thing that I could be is 50%. I'm either winning a lot or I'm losing a lot, and either you can tail me or fade me. But like just splitting bets, that sucks. Then everyone loses. So
True.
I'm hoping to get on a heater here in golf and then the NFL. But yeah, dude, it does come with the territory losing streaks. And because I've been gambling for so long, like I take losing streaks worse than I take like I'm more pissed off about a losing streak than I am happy about a winning streak.
Yeah, I guess
And
that makes
people
sense. That's
and
human.
Yeah.
people on the internet, dude, they don't give a fuck about a winning streak. Like when I first got to Outkick, I think I hit 15 bets in a row, baseball bets in a row. And then I lost one, and some guy called me a fucking idiot on Twitter. And I was like, oh, sweet, dude. Sweet.
How do you take that? Do you just clap back instantly? Like, do you go in on him, or
Nah,
you just like
dude.
let it roll off the back, like whatever?
Well, I was new at Outkick at that point, so I was a little like I didn't want to like get into a
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
bickering match with someone on Twitter, but it's also like they're a fucking eggshell with like one like Justin 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. It's like
Yeah.
it's pretty much I don't know. It could have been one of my friends trolling me in like a burner account. I had no idea. So I also like it just kind of comes with the territory, right? Like people are going to shit on bad bets a lot more than they're going to be like, hey, good stuff. I think that's kind of part of it. So I can't get like that mad about it. It's just funny, dude.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
15 games in a row, I lose one. Hey, you fucking idiot.
So before we started recording the Zoom, I had asked you a question that I'm glad that Dave stopped me because it would have been, a waste. What's the most obscure thing?
Yeah, we don't care about you. We only want the show. Like, it's just for the show.
No.
So-
Yeah.
Jeff, by the way, fuck off. But then,
No.
yeah, Chris has a question for you.
You see the abuse I take over here, man? It's fucking crazy.
Hey, I mean, he's kind of defending me in a weird way, so I'm okay with him abusing you on that front.
There you go.
That's okay. What's the most obscure thing you've ever bet on? Like the
And
weirdest.
see, I was struggling to answer that question before David stopped you.
Right.
I feel like my own pickup basketball games would be the most obscure thing that I bet on. But I'm also probably just not like it's been a while since I've been in college, and I've smoked a lot of pot since. So I probably gambled on weird shit in college that I just can't even remember. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Like-
beer pong games, but that's
Or-
not even weird.
or
Dizzy
like,
bat.
what is it? Every year they do those fun games on the Ocho or something. ESPN, the Ocho.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, that'd be
Right.
fun.
Like
That'd be fun.
dodgeball
Yeah,
and
that'd be
all
fun to
this
bet
other
on.
stuff.
That'd be fun to
Or
play.
like
Yeah.
chase a fucking cheese wheel down a hill with a bunch of dumbass English.
Dude, that's insane. Those people go so hard. They throw themselves.
That's a real thing?
That's a real thing. I
didn't
forget.
know
There's dude, it's a cheese wheel that they're chasing down.
It's a big cheese wheel, but they're
Oh,
just
it's big.
they just roll. Yeah, they roll it down a fucking hill, a bumpy, steep hill, and dudes will chase out. Men and women chase after it. It's an English game. I forget what it's called. Hold on, I'll try to Google it while we're talking.
Catch the
Cheese
cheese.
wheel English game.
Yeah, it's insane.
English race.
And it's yeah. When he says it's this hill, it's the grade is like this, and there's tree roots and
So people are just like
rocks.
falling down the hill, basically.
getting
Yeah,
mutilated. They're getting ragdolled, dude.
like risking paralysis for a fucking wheel of cheese.
What do
It's
you
called
win?
a coup.
Go ahead.
I think you win the cheese. I think that's it. I don't know. It's called the Cooper's Hill Cheese Rolling and Wake.
And wake? Well, that's because people die.
Yeah, exactly.
Goodness.
They bury you in
dude.
cheese.
Right. Yeah. My
Pretty sweet if you
goodness.
see videos on it.
Yeah, dude. Some
But
of
I-
the videos are great.
Yeah.
Great.
I wouldn't know how to even go about betting that. Like, I don't know if like any offshore or like English sports books would take action on that. I mean, that one's a tough one.
Yeah. You'd probably have to be on site to bet the guy next to you.
When the pandemic hit, my buddy got real hot in esports, and I bet some esports. I feel like that's a weird thing to bet on.
Okay,
Agree.
that counts.
Yep.
That counts for
Mhm.
sure. Because I
Yeah,
didn't know
I bet some like League of Legends, and they have like just like for football and NBA, they have esports like advanced analytics sites, and like you
What?
can actually find the data on like these League of Legends teams.
Holy shit.
I tried to understand it. I couldn't. If someone could, like if someone was into esports, they could definitely make use of the data. But you know, in the pandemic, there was really nothing going on. So yeah, I took a few shots at esports.
Interesting.
That sounds fun though.
Yeah.
That
I
sounds
mean,
fun.
yeah. Gambling is generally pretty fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're into it, I think you're into it, you know, and you can kind of find fun in betting on, as Jeff was saying, just about anything, beer pong, you know,
Yeah.
cheese wheel racing and all this
Like,
other stuff.
I enjoy going to a casino, but it's very rare that I sit down at any card table. I always play slot machines.
I don't know. man.
Really,
Yeah, I do. I play slot. I play
you and like
big,
the old ladies just ripping lung darts.
Dude, I'll
Pressing
sit
levers.
right next to an old bitch ripping lung darts, dude. Just,
Just tapping the button.
chilling next
Yeah.
to an old Asian guy with a green visor, just smoking cigs and
Tapping the
pressing
button.
buttons.
Yep.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
I
Fucking
don't,
fun.
I don't trust the digital slot machine.
Yeah.
I don't trust it. It can't be. It's obviously it's got to be rigged. It's got to be
I'm
rigged.
just that retarded that
Well, you can't say
under
that.
pressure, I can't count to 21 fast enough. And I
What?
don't.
Hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
I
dude.
see.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't. I just and I don't know what to do. And I played blackjack one time with a group,
Mm-hmm.
and one dude like screamed at me because I hit when I wasn't supposed to hit,
Oh yeah.
and it screwed him up.
People get mad.
He screamed at me.
Yeah. So that's a
I'm like-
bad
So
experience.
at Nellis Mania, I don't know how long ago, there was a group of us and we got like a blackjack table at the Hard Rock. Like there was an empty blackjack table and there's a deal there. So we all sat down, and that's the best way to do it is when you're with your homies, you're getting drink service or whatever, and you can talk about what to do amongst the group. Because if you're with a random and he's just an angry, grumpy, fucking jaded
Yeah.
gambler, like it's gonna suck. And
Yeah.
he's gonna be pissed off at you. Sounds like that's what happened.
Yeah. I do find it interesting watching the people with the wheel and they throw the ball.
That's roulette.
The roulette.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fun. I'll never play that because
It's fun.
I
It's easy to play.
Yeah, I know that. I could see like I understand the way the game works, but I'll put it on black, it'll go red. I'll put it on red, it'll go black.
Well, I mean,
every time.
That's a different story then. That's a different
That
thing.
works. Yeah. I played online roulette and blackjack. That shit's
Okay.
I don't know. I've won money doing that.
That's cool.
But
Oh, yeah.
that's David's point times 3, like about playing against a digital gaming
Yeah,
software or whatever. Like, dude,
Rigged.
that's sketchy as shit. But
rigged. But as long as you're,
Whatever.
hey, if you're winning, if whatever you got figured out, because I mean, there is such a thing as figuring out the algorithm, so to speak, in those situations as well. At a slot machine, not so much, but at roulette, maybe. You know what I mean? I guess there's a possibility that you could get hot against the algorithm that day.
Yeah.
For sure.
What's
yeah,
the dice
I mean,
game?
dude, people find ways to cheat slot machines, to cheat really any casino game. Like you can pull it off. I mean, it's very few people could,
It's
but
tough. It's tough.
Put it on the wheel.
Yeah,
No.
dude.
Yeah. Add it to the wheel of doom.
Cheat a casino and get away with it. Oh man.
Nope. I don't even want that written
No,
out.
our crime was jaywalking, so we're not exactly at that level.
Yeah. We had commit a crime on the wheel, and it was to jaywalk.
I mean, back in the old days, you'd be lucky if the casino called the cops. Like they would just handle it themselves with security. That'd be bad news.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. You're
Yep.
in the basement. You're in
Right.
the basement.
Yeah, dude. Getting beat up by a guy that looks like fucking Joe Pesci.
Yeah, getting fitted for cement shoes.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, you're in the desert, basically, if you're in the
Or if you're in Atlantic
Vegas.
City.
Yeah, Atlantic City, they threw you right off the pier.
Dude, I
Oh,
love
man.
Atlantic City. Do you guys ever go?
I go once in a while. I think the last time I was there was probably like 6 months ago. I enjoy it.
Nice.
I enjoy it's so scummy, but it's good.
Oh yeah.
It's good.
My kind of scummy.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
like that place.
Yeah. What's crazy is like 2 blocks in any direction off the boardwalk. Whew.
You're probably getting robbed.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Uh, elite crack territory.
big time. Big
Yeah.
time. And
If you want to find crack, go to outside of Atlantic City, just the residential areas.
yeah. I mean, we stayed at the last time we stayed
Allegedly.
at Harrah's, and they still have a smoking section, but it's like down the special hallway. The second we opened the door, it was 100 years of Newports. It was, you could see the haze in the air. The wallpaper was tinted yellow. It was
Dude,
so
most-
bad.
Oh, no.
Most casinos have smoking, I feel like. Like,
Yeah.
well, I'll light up a cigar at a casino.
They'll definitely have smoking sections, right?
Yeah, but what's funny is
Yeah,
it's
for
so,
sure.
it's so weird because like right here is the non-smoking section, and 7 feet away is where you can
yeah.
smoke.
It's
Yeah.
smoking sections always
Uh,
always used to be ridiculous. Like in restaurants, like
That
if,
was
if
funny,
you got a
yeah.
smoking section, you got a smoking restaurant.
Yeah. The last 10 booths are smoking, but there's no blockade. Just
right.
go have at it.
Yeah.
Go nuts. Or you can smoke at the
Yeah, man.
bar.
I miss those days.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember being like 16, going to the diner to drink coffee all day or all night with your friends and just ripping cigarettes.
I never smoked cigarettes, so I didn't have that experience. But I do remember the smell of the cigarette would be very familiar,
Yeah.
in the diner scenario.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's terrible. Yeah, I'm not a cigarette smoker either. I'll smoke a cigar every now and then. I have this tradition where every time I hit a golf outright bet, I'll smoke a cigar, feed my dog a piece of bacon, and take her on a long walk.
Sick.
Wait, let me get that order right. I feed my dog a piece of bacon, walk her, and smoke a cigar. That's what I do.
There you go.
And I did that this past weekend. But otherwise, outside of like going to the horse track or a casino, I don't really smoke cigar. I don't smoke cigars.
Yeah, well,
I'll,
those are the places where I feel like they fit.
yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Any gambling, you should be smoking a cigar
Yeah, yeah. I'll smoke it if it's full of weed.
Yeah, well, that's not a cigar.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're having a different conversation.
True. Speaking of a different conversation, before we get into like the picks and stuff, because we'll circle back to football. But I want to hear a little bit about MSPH. Tell the people about the Mad Scientist Party Hour, how you got involved, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I actually connected with the host of the pod of MSPH through a mutual friend that we had out in New York. This guy Rob Sprance, he used to do, or excuse me, still does the whole podcast, formerly called the Glory Hole, and ran the Riotcast Network. I told him that I was moving out to Southern California in late 2011. He's like, "Yeah, you got to connect with this guy Kevin Kraft, hosts the MSPH or Mad Scientist Party Hour." When I moved out to LA or Long Beach, I ended up connecting with Kevin, went on his podcast once, and then really been going on ever since with him and one of his high school, college age buddies, Shuddy Boy,
Pussy boy?
Chris, who's gonna whoop Chris's ass in a few weeks.
Wow.
mean-
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
I heard the
I
end of the
didn't
show today.
Yeah, I didn't want to take it there, but Shuddy said you never take sides against the family, and he's right. So I am
That's fair.
100% on Shuddy's side, and
That's fair.
he's gonna light your ass up.
He did say
I know
something.
he's taking it seriously. Are you taking it seriously?
Of course.
Okay.
But I know he did say something about he's chomping at the bit. Can't wait for snowboarding season. He's not going to be chomping anything after that fight. He's going to be drinking his meals from a straw for at least 6 weeks.
Are you guys doing bare knuckles?
No, 16-ounce gloves. We're playing by the rules. Listen. I asked for no headgear. I don't know if that's going to be a thing. So
Should have asked for fucking knives or knuckles. Like, how are we doing this?
I'm gonna bite his fucking ear off.
Yeah, no holds barred, just fucking cage fight.
It's going to be a good time. It's for a good cause. I'm excited. Of course, I'm a little nervous, but I'm still really excited. I know he's taking this seriously, and it's like I said, it's going to be really fun.
For a good cause. I love that.
Yeah.
I've been doing Mad Scientist Party Hour with Shuddy Boy and Kevin since late 2011, early 2012. It's kind of just a fart and dick jokes podcast. We talk a lot about our lives, so a lot of the followers or listeners that we have been with us for years, and they kind of know our personalities inside and out. And we'll just talk about the calamities that us three stoners get into on a weekly basis. As we get older and mature a little bit more, there's less shenanigans, but more just still the same amount of stupid shit being talked and like goofiness that our fans really enjoy from us. So it's really just kind of an outlet. And we fired up a Patreon for it a few years ago, and we've been making money doing it, which has been fucking wonderful.
So Chris, did you did you just stumble upon the MSPH show or something? Like, how did this all come about?
So I stumbled upon MSPH because I listened to the Jason Ellis show, and Kevin was a big part of that show, and I grew to like him. And through, I heard that he had his own show, and as soon as I heard that, I hopped on board, and it's got to be 8 years now, I think.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. A lot of our listeners are current or former Ellis show
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, Kevin is no longer with the show, so I don't know. A lot of our listeners just came over because they like Kevin and they stuck
Yeah.
with us.
Hell
So
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Kevin's
Yeah.
the man. They're all awesome. They
Yeah,
are.
so far so good. You're the second out of the three. Our Infinity Gauntlet is almost complete. But yeah, Shuddy, cool guy. Geoff, cool guy.
Yeah, I like, obviously I had Kevin on once before, and I want to have him on again so bad. I know how busy he is, and I don't want to sound like a bother, and I don't, you know what I mean? Like, plus I had to make a new Instagram account because my other one got locked out, so him and I aren't friends, so I can't message him. So it's like, again, I
damn.
just,
All
I
right.
don't
Well,
wanna,
I'll relay the message. We'll
Well,
try to get him back on here.
that I wasn't trying to, that wasn't what I was looking for. I don't want to be a bother. Like, I
We
know
have
all
to
of you
finish
guys
the
are busy.
MSPH Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah, it's important because then we'll be unstoppable.
Yeah. It'd be rad to have all three of you guys on at once. That'd be fun if that was even possible.
It would be possible. We'd have to do something big, like we'd have to play a big game or something like
Yeah.
that, which is very doable. We could play a game and
Yeah.
everybody could be contestants and teams, something like
We
that.
got Zoom. Well, it's sent from different parts of the country.
Sick.
Yeah.
That'd be
We
cool.
could do that. Mhm.
That'd be fun.
I got some. So, David, you're into football
I am.
or you're not?
No,
Okay.
I am. I'm
And
a
Chris,
big
you're not.
fan of football.
I'm not into it. I just don't watch it. I don't, I'm not current with anything.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Just let me stop you there. You're not into it. We're cool. All right, I got it. It's all good.
Yeah. So
I just don't watch it. I don't bet on it, but I'm not,
yeah, but I'm into it.
All right.
Though. I'm into
Yeah.
it.
I'm into it.
I love it.
I just don't care about
I love
it.
it.
So Geoff, do you have like a favorite football team?
Yeah, I grew up a New York Giants fan. I'm New York sports everything, Yankees,
Right.
Giants, Rangers, Knicks. I'm from upstate New York originally, Saratoga County. But yeah, I grew up a big New York sports fan. But the more I bet, the less into teams I am, the less into I'm just into like betting. I'm into making money more than I am like my team's winning games. I still a fan. I still root for my teams, but my money matters more.
Right on. Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I used to be a Jets fan, but the day they hired Adam Gase, I put all my stuff in a box, and I just was just not a fan of them anymore. I couldn't support that franchise any longer, and so now I'm just not a fan of any team, and it's made my experience a lot better. Like my I'm better at betting. Not to say that I'm good at betting, but I'm better than I was. My fantasy football is certainly much better and much more enjoyable because I can just root for situations, players, teams. And each year I'll have like one or two darling teams that I'm kind of, watching extra closely. So, yeah, I'm not necessarily the fan of any team, but I really enjoy the sport. I like it as a whole.
I love that. I want to hear about the teams that you're hot on and cool on.
So let's just jump right into what we're going to do is we're going to have a division winner prediction. We're going to do our NFL predictions for 2024. We're going to predict the 4 division winners in each conference. We're going to predict who wins each conference.
The buys.
And then we might not do buys because I forgot about it and I never asked Anthony to do it. So we don't have all that information. So we'll just
Wild cards?
wild cards we definitely are going to do. So the division winners, the wild cards. Sorry, I didn't mention that.
I did my homework.
Yes. Very proud of you, Chris. And then we'll obviously pick our conference winners and our Super Bowl winner. So let's talk Eastern Division, the East Division in the AFC and the NFC. Chris. Well, actually, we'll start with our guest Geoff because he says he's a Giants fan. He's got he's got a little bit of an affinity for the Giants. Who do you have winning the NFC East this year?
I'll go with the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a pick, not a bet. It's minus 140 on FanDuel. And I'm not going to bet a future unless I'm getting a plus money payout. I don't want to tie my money up for 5 months. So it's not an actual bet. But I agree with the odds. I agree with the favorites. I would take the Philadelphia Eagles.
I agree with everything you just said. If it's not plus, we like the plus sign when we're doing a long-term bet like this. Like as you mentioned, tying up when you make a futures bet, that money is locked up for, months, and you want to have a nice little payout at the end. Chris, who's your NFC East division winner?
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Bingo. Look at you. 1 for 1. And as I bring up our little grid, I believe Anthony has the Eagles winning the NFC East as well.
Grid me, baby.
Here we go. Hold on.
Am I going to be able to see the grid, or is that just for?
No, you're going to be able to see it in just one moment. I just have to open it up.
You can't wait. I love a good grid.
I feel good about what I said first because I feel like I got a little bit of I wasn't laughed at, so we're good.
No, you nailed it.
Yeah,
And
pick the favorite.
Exactly as
Oh, baby, look at that Google Sheet grid. All right.
So now, why did this pop over here? You can see the grid, right, Geoff?
I can.
Okay, cool. So we have Chris, Eagles, and Geoff, Eagles. All right. AFC East. Chris, who you got?
The AFC East, I predict the Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills. And Geoff, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills too. Plus 165. It's a good division. I don't hate the Jets look. They have the best defense in the NFL. I'm just sketched out about backing a 40-year-old quarterback who just tore his Achilles on the first play of the game last year. That's my issue. And I think Miami takes a step back this year.
We were here. Chris and I were here. We watched that game together. We saw it happen, and it was just there couldn't have been. There's no more possible Jetsy outcome. Than that.
It is quintessential Jets. It was beautiful.
It was wild.
So you said Bills, right? Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you guys, or I'm with Chris and the Bills.
My I guess surprise pick would be the Dolphins. I think the Bills have a potential to take a slight step back this year in terms of their offensive just domination, leaving the door open for the Dolphins to just kind of sneak by them, maybe by a game, and win the division. And Anthony did put his chips in on the Jets and the 40-year-old quarterback who tore his Achilles. And so we'll see. But the Jets defense is great. So that will definitely keep them in a lot of games.
Yeah, I had the Jets. I bet them to win the Super Bowl last year. And then, when Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles, that shit was over. But I mean, I love their defense. I love the team they built around him. They beefed up the offensive line, which is like the worst part of their team. So I could definitely see it with the Jets. But I'm going to go with the Bills. Stick with my Bills pick.
So is there any team in the AFC East or NFC East that we didn't talk about that you think deserves mention?
To me, I guess from like an NFL content perspective, you kind of always have to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. And I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to fall off a cliff this year. I think they're going to fucking suck. So, like, I want to get that out there. I don't have them making the playoffs. I think that team's going to bottom out. They are the richest sports franchise in the world. They're worth $10 billion, and they fucking spent pretty much no money this offseason. They didn't improve their roster at all. It's ridiculous. I thought the team peaked last year in the middle of the season against weak teams. So I think they're going to fall apart. And the Patriots are going to suck, but we kind of all know that, I think.
Yeah, I agree. That's interesting that you say that the Cowboys are not going to make the playoffs, because you never know. Oh wait, my picks are right on the screen here, so you can see that I don't have them making the playoffs either. So let's go AFC West. Does anybody, Chris, who do you have winning the AFC West?
The Queefs.
Okay. And Geoff?
Yeah, I'm with them on the Queefs. It does have to be said, though, I love Jim Harbaugh. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to have the Chargers really fucking good soon. I just don't think it's this year. I mean, they're saying the Chiefs think that this is the best roster Andy Reid has ever had, and they just won the back-to-back Super Bowls.
Right.
Like, that team's going to be fucking nasty, and there's no talking around that.
Yeah, I agree. The Chiefs, I think they had a little bit of a lower offensive output season last year. And so people are sort of somehow, after they won 2 straight Super Bowls, people are still sort of sleeping on them a little bit, which is crazy.
He throws no-look passes.
Well, he's been doing that behind the back, behind the back pass the other day.
He's a machine. He's an AI simulated machine, AI generated.
Yeah,
He's a robot.
it's Patrick Mahomes' world, and the NFL's just living in it.
Pretty much.
It. It's his era.
I drafted him in a dynasty startup, and I'll tell you, I couldn't be happier.
Is he the new Tom Brady?
He will be eventually. I mean, as long as he stays healthy, there's no reason to think he can't surpass what Brady did as far as championships, yards, the whole 9 yards. I mean, with his coach, if Andy Reid stays around, and this is my opinion, if Andy Reid stays around and he stays healthy, then yeah, he can break all records.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, they'll have the Chiefs as the Super Bowl favorite for the next 5 or 6 years comfortably.
Easy.
I think eventually Andy Reid will retire and they'll have to restructure things around Patrick Mahomes, but because he's the best quarterback in the league, they'll probably be able to do it. So, I mean, you're looking at maybe an 8 to 10 year window where the Chiefs are realistically a top 3 team in the NFL and can win the Super Bowl in a year. So, it's just like Tom Brady's 7 Super Bowls is kind of breaks my fucking brain. Like it's insane. It really is. And I mean, if Patrick Mahomes never won another Super Bowl, he'd still be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Right.
And he still has 3 more to go to catch Tom Brady.
He's got 4 more to go. He's got 3 already.
Well, what does he have left in his career? Like you say, like maybe he's got 8 more good years, 10?
10, 12.
Oh, okay.
He'll play for a
10
while.
or 12.
Yeah.
But he's going this year. There's never been a three-peat in the NFL, and the Chiefs are going for the first ever three-peat.
Really?
Now
So,
that,
like,
I thought the
that-
Dallas Cowboys did that in the 90s. They just
No.
won a
No.
lot.
they won 3 over the course of, I believe, 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I know some football, Geoff.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, they beat the Bills twice in a row, and then the Niners won in '94, and the Cowboys came back and won against the Steelers. So they won 3 out of 4 from like '92 to '95.
Damn.
I think is how it went. And the Steelers might have done something similar in the '70s, but no one's ever three-peated before. And I mean, that would be that, because no one's done it, that'd be one thing Patrick Mahomes could have over Tom Brady if
Yeah.
you're stacking their resumes.
That's
So kind of beating a dead horse here, but yeah, they're going to win the fucking division.
As a as a Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce owner in Dynasty, I hope they three-peat.
Okay.
Okay. NFC West. Chris, who you got?
San Francisco 49ers.
How about you, Jeff?
I'm going with the Los Angeles Rams.
Ooh.
I don't know if I'm gonna. I guess I won't spoil it, but I'm high on the Rams this year. Um, I think Matt Stafford is a legit MVP contender. I think their offense is going to be better than it was last year, and it was fucking nasty towards the end of last year. Cooper Cup is going to be a year healthier and removed from that season-ending knee injury that he had in 2022. Their running back Kyron Williams is sick. I know Aaron Donald just retired, and that's a concern, but I have I have faith that Sean McVay will figure it out, and him and Matt Stafford are gonna possibly make a Super Bowl run.
Love it. I love it. I have the 49ers with an asterisk. The asterisk was just in case on the off chance that Brandon Ayuk gets traded. If Ayuk gets traded, then I think the Rams, who also have an asterisk, will win the division. But right now I have the 49ers in there. And at this point, I don't think Ayuk is getting traded. What about you, Jeff?
I'm with you. I think they figure it out. I know he's been grumpy and acting up on social media or unfollowing the team and stuff, but that shit usually sorts it out. And that's how these wide receivers are, man. They're all fucking divas. They whine and cry, but he'll get paid. He'll be happy, and they should be good. The concern with them, to me, is just one of the universal laws of the NFL is the team that loses the Super Bowl sucks the next year. It almost always happens. And it happened with them when they lost the Chiefs a few years ago. Everyone got injured the next year. So that's the one concern, because they are a stars and scrubs team. If Trent Williams gets hurt or Brock Purdy gets hurt, they're fucked. They're fucked, and they're going down. I mean, you could say that about any quarterback, but they have a few guys, Tebow, Samuel, and Trent Williams, non-quarterbacks, that they get injured, team's in rough shape. So, but they should be good. I'm not going to outright fade them.
Right on. AFC North. Chris.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, baby. I also have the Bengals. Jeff?
Anthony's going with the Ravens.
Anthony's got the Ravens. Chalk.
Yeah, this is another team I'm high on. I'm going with the Cleveland Browns.
Ooh.
I wrote this for Outkick, and this just sounds terrible, but I'm going to come out and say it. I'm a big Deshaun Watson fan.
Okay.
I have
Why is that bad? Is he a bad dude?
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty much NFL's Bill Cosby, you know?
Oh,
But-
okay.
Yeah. But I've been making money on him since he was a sophomore in Clemson. I've probably made more money betting Deshaun Watson games than any other athlete. Every time I bet him, the fucking guy wins. Not every time, but most of the time. And I just think that defense is sick. The Cleveland Browns won 11 games last year, even though both tackles got injured, Nick Chubb got injured, and Deshaun Watson got injured. All of them are going to be back. The coaching staff is sick. Myles Garrett might be the best defensive player in the world. I think I got the Browns winning the Super Bowl. So
Whoa. Hot take. Holy shit.
yeah,
Hot take.
yeah. I know I was kind of supposed to save that, but I have them beating the Rams in the Super Bowl. Those are my two Super Bowl teams.
Whew. Interesting. Chris, who you got in the NFC North?
NFC North, I had the Detroit Lions.
Okay, it looks like we might have a clean sweep of the Lions unless we have another shocking pick from Jeff.
But I have a quick question before Jeff gives his pick.
Go ahead.
What does chalk mean?
Means you're picking the favorites.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna zag on you guys here. I'm going with the Chicago Bears. I think
The Bears.
yeah, one of my first things that I wrote for Outkick was how I thought Caleb Williams is going to win the 22 Heisman, and I've loved Caleb Williams' game since he took over the starting job in Oklahoma before going to USC. I'm a USC fan, sure, but I watched almost every game Caleb Williams has played in college, and I think he's fucking nasty. I think he's going to be like 85 to 90% of what Pat Mahomes is. And that's pretty much a top five quarterback. I think by the time he signs his second contract, he'll be a top five quarterback. The team that they have around him is fucking nasty between Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and their first round draft pick, Rome Odunze. The offense should be good. The defense is good last year, and I think they surprise people, win that division.
Interesting. That's a fun team. That's one of the fun teams that, as you asked earlier, who I'll be keeping an eye on, and the Bears are one of those teams. I agree with a lot of what you said. They should be real spicy. That, if nothing else, they'll be competitive. They have a defense that I think is better than people realize. The Bears should be a lot of fun this year.
Real quick.
Yeah, dude.
I'm sorry. Matt. No, I was just saying I'm like over here. I'm tripping out because like we're having this conversation and he's in the conversation, and I listen to him so much that it's just weird for me that he's actually talking to us and I'm not listening. You know what I'm saying?
You're starstruck.
No, not that. I wouldn't say starstruck. It's just weird that listening and I can just be like, yeah, hey, and you know what I mean? Never mind.
Hey, you're a pussy.
Hey, big time. Fuck off.
You should jump in and call me a pussy.
So we got Browns and Bears. Those were two surprises in the North divisions. That's something. Interesting. And just by the way,
I'm full of surprises here. This is gonna get weird here.
I can see that. Lions for Anthony and myself as well. Now let's go back to the AFC. Chris, who you got winning the AFC South?
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay. What about the Jaguars made you decide on them?
Do you want to know the truth?
Yeah.
I like their logo.
Fair. Okay.
Go ahead, Jeff. What do you got to say about that?
Jeff, who you got winning?
I mean, for not that reason, but I agree with Chris.
Yes!
I'm going with the Jaguars.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's
I think
your
it's
reason?
a bounce back year. I think it's a bounce back year for Trevor Lawrence.
He's handsome.
They left a lot of points on the field because the wide receivers struggled to haul in catches on the sidelines, and they had a lot of drops on deep balls that could have been touchdowns. They started out last year, I think 8-3 before Trevor Lawrence got dinged up, and then they completely fell off a cliff. They also rested a little bit too much on their laurels last season and didn't spend anything in free agency. This offseason, I think they spent the most in free agency. So they added some new pieces, including a defensive coordinator, which I really like. So I think their defense is going to be better. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to bounce back. And I love the Texans. I was high on them last year. I made a lot of fucking money on the Texans. So I definitely have them as a wild card team, and I wouldn't be surprised if they won the division, but I guess I'm keeping it spicy. I'm going with the Jaguars.
Right on. Yeah, I have the Texans, and Anthony has the Texans as well. I mean, maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit, but they added pieces that show that they're trying to win now. They added Stephon Diggs. They added Joe Mixon. It looks like they recognize that their window is now open with their quarterback that they have and the young receivers and so on. And so I feel like they're doing what they can to try and win now, and so for that reason, I'm going with the Texans. I guess I could see. I think they make the playoffs no matter what, whether it's the division or the wild card. I just think they're a little too good to not make the playoffs. But I could be wrong. I could be the dummy.
Well, I'm with you. I think they make the playoffs. They could certainly win the division. And to your point, yeah, like the most important thing you can do in the NFL besides finding a franchise quarterback is spending on your roster while your quarterback is in a rookie deal. And that's what they have. They got CJ Stroud, who's a top 5, top 10 quarterback already, making relatively cheap money or on a relatively team-friendly deal. So,
Right.
yeah, they got Stephon Diggs. They got Daniil Hunter, the pass rusher from the Vikings. They're going to be fucking nasty. I'm with you. And like, so my whole thing with sports betting is I go into every game or like projection cynical. I'm looking for a reason to fade a team and to shit on a team more than I am to bet on them.
Okay.
And after looking at the Texans, like they're gonna be awesome. Like there's not a lot you could say bad about them. I just do think the Jaguars are going to be better this year.
Fair. That's all right. I like that. I mean, you know, that's a different opinion, but it's still a vote of confidence for the Texans, you know?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the
They're gonna be good.
NFC South, Chris.
The New Orleans Saints.
Wow. Okay. Why the Saints?
I don't know. I don't have a real reason. I mean, it's just I don't know. It sounded
Love it.
good. It sounded good.
As Anthony would say, that you have a feeling in your jellies.
Yeah. The little jelly rolls are tingling.
Yeah. Geoff.
I'm going with the Panthers. They're
Get outta
11
here.
to 1.
Are you
Yeah,
just
they're
trying to
11
be?
one FanDuel.
Are you trying to be spicy or what?
No, well, I do think this is the easiest division, so it's the most like ripe for an upset. But they hired Carolina Panthers hired a new head coach this offseason, Dave Canales, who worked with Russell Wilson in Seattle and Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay, and he got the most out of them. Now, that's important because Russell Wilson, Baker Mayfield, and the Panthers quarterback Bryce Young are all fucking midgets. They're all little guys. So Canales knows how to coach up these small quarterbacks. So I think he's going to be able to find throwing windows for Bryce Young, and also going back to what I said about the Jaguars, the Panthers spent a fuck ton in free agency this year. Like, and you also made this point about the Texans. It's like they have Bryce Young on a rookie contract, so they're spending to try to get the most out of him. Now, I understand he looked like complete shit last year. Like, I get it. It was terrible. It was terrible. Coach got fired. They were 2-15 last year. But again, going back to the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence was 2-15 his first year with Urban Meyer. They fired Urban Meyer, replaced it with an offensive-minded head coach, and they ended up winning the division next year. And the AFC South that year is kind of weak or was weak, kind of like the NFC South is this year. So it is spicy. It is. I put my money on it, and I think the Panthers are going to get there.
That's got to be
And it's just
a good number, right? Plus everything.
It's 11 to 1, yeah. Plus 1100.
Wow.
So
That's pretty good.
yeah, and bet $100, you win 1,100.
Jesus.
But yeah, I mean, the thing about the NFL is just like it's the most random league in sports. There's so many injuries. There's so many things that happen throughout a season that we can't think of going into the season. So you just have to pick random stances, like random hills to die on. And that's what I did with a few of these teams, obviously.
Yeah, that's an interesting strategy because I mean, I don't know the numbers, but the statistics say that like a certain number of teams that made the playoffs last year are not going to make the playoffs this year, which means that teams that we're not really expecting right now might end up, you know, in the playoffs or in the wild card, whatever the case may be. So you do have to try to have these, you know, what could be considered contrarian thoughts. You know, what if this works out, or what if this doesn't work out for these other teams and these guys? You know, the Dave Canales point, very good point. Last year, Baker Mayfield was great. The year before that, Geno Smith was great, and this guy was their coach. So, you know, until proven otherwise, you know, he could be a quarterback guru. And, you know, you're like the point you made about the tiny little quarterbacks. That's very fair. Bryce Young, he's got to be the smallest quarterback in the league. No. I think he
Probably,
is.
yeah, because when you look at like his height, he's about Russell Wilson and Baker Mayfield, but they're both thick dudes. Bryce Young is
He looks
like
like a little kid.
he looks like a college kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's small.
He looks like a little kid.
But he's got a good head on his shoulders. He plays the position really well, and I'm not someone who's just going to overreact. I thought Bryce Young was going to be great coming into college or coming into the NFL. I don't think he'll be better than CJ Stroud anymore. Like I'm not a fucking idiot. Like I saw it. Okay, fair enough. But like I still think he's gonna be good and gonna be a franchise quarterback. So I guess I'm just buying low on the team. And the point that you're referencing, David, is it's 5 teams on average every year in the NFL
Oh, okay.
who make the playoffs, or 5 teams miss the playoffs and 5 new teams get in every year in the NFL.
And there's, for context, 7 playoff teams.
Right. Yeah.
So wait, now you say 5 teams in both conferences, or just 5 teams in each conference?
No, 5 teams in the league.
In the
5
league.
teams that
Oh, okay. So
didn't make
5
it
out
the
of-
year before.
5 out of 14. Still a
Yeah.
pretty significant number.
It's wild.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. Like I think like almost no team wins back-to-back divisions in the NFC East.
Right.
Like it hasn't happened in like 20 years,
Right.
or since like I think 2003. So yeah, 21 years. So it's just like NFL. It's fucking random. That's what makes it the best team sport to gamble on, and like the funnest, in my opinion. Because you could say these crazy shit. Like some people might be listening to this, but what the fuck, the Panthers? But it's like weird shit's going to happen. It's just finding it.
Mhm.
It's So I guess the Panthers are my weird thing that I found. We'll see.
I mean, I thought the Browns and the Bears were spicy until you said Panthers. Now I don't know what is up and what is down. I'm disoriented. I'm lost. Okay.
Me too, man.
Chris.
Do you want my 3 wild card predictions straight off, or we're gonna just keep doing it the same?
Do 1. Yeah, let's see how it works. Well, I don't know. I don't honestly know.
All right.
Shooting
In
from
no
the hip.
particular order,
Go ahead.
I have the Los Angeles Chargers.
The Chargers. Okay. Who's the first team that you want to throw on the table there, Geoff?
I'll go with the Jets. I think they'll make a wild card.
Interesting. Okay, so my first team on, as you can see, is the Colts, and Anthony's got the Bills making the playoffs. So he's got the Jets winning the division and the Bills making a wild card, and Geoff, you have the reverse. The Bills win the division and the Jets get the wild card.
Yep.
Chris, who's your second wild card team?
Miami Dolphins.
The Dolphins. Okay, see, I have them winning the division. You got them as a wild card. I respect that. And as you'll see, I do have the Bills, so it's the reverse of what I have. I have the Bills as a wild card team as well. Geoff, who's your next wild card team?
I'll go with the Texans.
Okay, so they still make the playoffs. We talked about it, but you just think the Jaguars have that bounce back year, which is very fair. Anthony's got the Jaguars. He's got the reverse of you. He's got the Jaguars winning the wild card and the Texans winning the division. I have the.
Can we back it up?
Sure.
Can we back it up real quick? I'm interested in your Colts pick because I like the Colts this year,
Oh, okay.
but I want to hear why you like them too.
So I think that there's a lot of upside with Anthony Richardson, which is not a surprise to anybody who's been paying attention. But the problem with him is obviously the just insane injury concerns right now. Chris, he played in 5 games or something like that and got injured in 3 of them.
What?
So he basically played 2 full games in his rookie season, and then he missed the rest of the year.
Yeah, he sprained an ankle, had a concussion, and like tore his shoulder.
Yeah.
Is he just trash, or is he?
No, he's a freak of nature. He's an athletic freak. He was the best quarterback that was ever tested at the combine.
Mhm.
So like athletically and like measurable wise,
He's off the charts.
He's off the charts. But he plays with a reckless running style that he just took too many, like he just took the wrong hits, and it happens.
That
So
sucks.
but his upside
Yeah,
go ahead.
he's learning the hard way that you're not playing against kids anymore. Like you're gonna get fucking whacked in the NFL.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, but the thing is, in those limited times that we got to see him, he was very, very good. He was a decent enough thrower of the ball. He was an excellent runner of the ball.
Mhm.
So in fantasy football, that makes him very appealing. Is a high risk, high reward player.
Okay.
So for actual football, he's just entertaining to watch. You know what I mean? He's just a fun. He's fun.
And he's on the Colts.
He's on the Colts. The Colts have one of the better, if not one of the best running backs in the league in Jonathan Taylor. They have a really solid number one receiver in Michael Pittman. And I just really like Josh Downs. I think Josh Downs is, he's like it's sort of on the same level as like a Tank Dell, except Tank Dell gets all the publicity and nobody talks about Josh Downs. Unfortunately, Josh Downs has a little bit of an injury concern as well because he was injured last year. He's already injured again this year. I like Shane's, and the bottom line here is that I think they have a good enough roster, and I really like Shane Steichen, the head coach. I think he's really good offensive mind. I think he's a really good head coach. I think he's going to get the most out of his team, which I think he did last year with the backup quarterbacks. And, this, of course, hinges on Anthony Richardson staying healthy for the majority of the season. But if Richardson stays healthy, I don't see how the Colts don't make the playoffs.
Man, I love that analysis. I'm betting the Colts week 1 at home against the Houston Texans in a revenge match. The Houston Texans played the Colts and beat them in week 18 in like a winner take all for the division. And like David said, that was with a backup quarterback. So if Anthony Richardson can be better than Gardner Minshew, which he should be, I think the Colts could absolutely be in the playoff mix. I actually bet Anthony Richardson to lead the NFL in rushing touchdowns at 27-1. I really like him as a fantasy football quarterback this year. I mean,
Yeah.
you pretty much nailed it on the head. Like he's got so much upside.
Yeah, it's just the only concern is injury. The only thing that prevents him from finishing as like a top 5 fantasy option and one of the better quarterbacks in real football is injury. Other than that, his physical skills, the amount of times that he runs, the ability for him to run, and then the coach scheming him. Michael Pittman gets first read. If you can just scheme first read for Michael Pittman or scheme first read for Josh Downs, which I believe Shane Steichen is very good at, then, the offense is going to be really, really good. So there's my breakdown on the Colts. Hopefully he stays healthy, because if Richardson stays healthy, they're one of those other teams that I find I'll be keeping an extra eye on, because I think they could be exciting. They could be a fun team. I think Steichen does, it's still early in his head coaching career, but he'll end up rising to the top, I believe. Not the very top necessarily, but he'll be among the best coaches in the NFL. Chris, who's your final wild card team?
The Baltimore Ravens.
Okay, fair. A couple people have them winning. No, just Anthony has them winning the division. Geoff, your final wild card team?
I'll go with the Bengals. Joe Burrow's gonna be back. That team didn't be nasty.
Nice. So
Before he got injured last year, they beat the San Francisco 49ers and Buffalo Bills in back-to-back weeks. Like they really looked like they're about to fucking put the league on notice. Then he got hurt and their season went to shit. But they still played pretty well. They actually finished with a winning record. Jake Browning, good backup. So
yeah, Browning was solid. That's another coach that I really like. He can get the best and the most out of his players. We'll get to the Bengals in just a moment. But so the Ravens were on everybody's list. No, you don't have the Ravens making the playoffs, Geoff.
that's right. I know.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, well, we already kind of talked about it. He's part of the reason, 5 teams missed the playoffs who made it the year prior every season in the NFL. They lost 3 starting offensive linemen and 3 defensive head coaches, and that directly impacts their 2 biggest strengths, which is their running game and their defense. Last year, I thought the Ravens defense was the best unit in football, and their running game is perennially solid. It's probably going to be good again this year because of Lamar Jackson and them just adding Derrick Henry. But he gets injured every other year, and it's a really tough division. And they have a first place schedule. And this is also going back to my original point. One of those just like, fuck it. Weird things happen. This is going to be a weird thing that happens.
Fair enough. Oh, speaking of schedules, I've the point I forgot to make. The Colts have a very easy schedule this year. That's another reason why I think that they can make the playoffs. Okay, Chris.
Yes.
Who do you have in the NFC? What's your first NFC wildcard team?
The Dallas Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys. Anthony also has them as a wildcard team. I have them missing the playoffs. Geoff, your first wildcard team in the NFC.
I'm gonna go with the Packers.
Oh, baby, the Packers. I also have the Packers on my list as well. So you have the Bears finishing in first place in that division and the Packers finishing in second place in that division, presumably.
Yep.
Do you think that Jordan Love is that good?
I do, yeah. Yeah. I think Matt LaFleur is that good as well. You know, it's kind of like the Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes thing. Regardless, Patrick Mahomes is going to be a great quarterback, but with Andy Reid, he's the Super Bowl caliber quarterback. Not sure if Jordan Love's Super Bowl caliber. I actually don't think they'll win a playoff game this year, but I do think they'll get to the playoffs. I'm a little sketched out about their defense. And they had a lot of weird losses last year. They play a much tougher schedule this year. So that's what I think holds them back from winning the division ultimately.
Yeah, that's fair. Their defense, their team might still be a year away.
Yeah.
Chris, your next wild card team?
The Minnesota Vikings.
Whoa. All right. What made you decide?
Baby.
Is this another logo situation?
No, I just I think they're an okay team.
Okay. That's it.
That's it.
Fair enough.
That's it.
Okay.
That's as far as my analysis goes.
Fair enough. Okay. Geoff, what's your next wild card team?
I'll go with the San Francisco 49ers. I said all that shit about how they use Super Bowl losers usually regress, but they still have a top 5 roster, a great head coach. So they should win 10 plus games.
The regression for them is going from the division to the wild card and still making the playoffs. Because in the NFC, there's any way you slice it, dice it, or cut it, they are in the top 7 best players teams in the NFC. It's just even at their if not their best, maybe not their worst, but at not their best, they're still within that range. I agree.
They would have to have so many injuries for them to fall out of the playoffs. I would think. So yeah, I'll have them in.
Agreed. And getting since we're talking about the 49ers, you had the Rams winning the division and the 49ers in the wild card. I had the reverse, but then again I said, contingent upon what seems like a very unlikely Ayuk trade right now, the Rams would go into the division winner, but I have them making the playoffs as a wild card. Just to mention that. And then Anthony's got the Cowboys and also the Packers. And he's also got the Rams. How about that? Chris, who's your final wild card team?
The Seattle Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Excuse
okay. What's your analysis
It's
on
a
this
sharp
one?
pick.
Because
It is interesting.
it always rains in Seattle, and they could use a win. I don't know. No, I just they just seemed like a decent team.
Okay. All right. Geoff, you said it's a sharp pick. Tell us why.
A lot of the sports NFL bettors that I follow, who I respect, really like the Seahawks this year. They hired the Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator from last year, this guy Mike McDonald, who I think has a background in finance. Like he's not even like an original football guy.
He also has a background in being a singer.
Is he? All right, yeah. So I know, and the roster is pretty good. Chris was kind of touching on that in this weird roundabout way, but
Right.
they have studs all over the defense. Great secondary between Devin Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen, and their wide receivers are pretty nasty. I'm a little iffy about Geno Smith, and I actually didn't even get to this part of the assignment, so I filled this in late, but I think I have to agree with Chris here. I'm gonna put them as my final wild card team too. It was
Really?
between
Wait.
eh,
Who? The Seahawks?
yeah, I'm gonna take the Seahawks too. I wanna say the Giants, but it's too much of a homer pick, and I'm too biased.
Yeah,
So in my head,
that would be unreasonable. You know, that would be
I think I think I agree. Yeah, it's just too much to ask for. I think there's a world where the Giants do win 10 games, but I think the safer pick is the Seahawks.
yeah, I agree with that. I not the first part. I don't see a world where the Giants win 10 games.
Yeah.
But they could be competitive, frisky. Maybe they could do 8-9, 9-8 type situation. This is going to be a true test of Daboll's coaching. That's for sure. And
Yeah.
what
Last year, what were they? In 2022, they were 9-7-1 in his first year.
Right.
And as a Giants fan, I can say confidently this team is much better than that team. On paper, from the roster standpoint, they won 6 games last year, David, and the roster was fucking dog shit. Like Tommy DeVito won 3 games.
right.
Brian Dable, he's gonna get these guys to 7 wins, 7, 8 wins at least. Like he's got to.
Right. So yeah, like I don't see anything unreasonable about 8-9, 9-8 for sure. What's your
But that could get into the NFC playoffs. Like every year, the NFC playoffs, they always have 9-win teams in there.
That's fair.
Like I think the Seahawks get in on 9 wins. I don't.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you notice, I left off the Lions. I think the Lions. I think the Lions are going to suffer a similar fate as the Ravens. I'm not back.
You read it. You
Go
wrote an
ahead.
article about that, right?
Yeah.
I read that article. It was good.
Oh, really?
I don't.
Awesome. Yeah.
I don't agree, but I did read the article, and because I did my research, I did my homework as well. Chris did his homework. I did my homework. So yeah, I read a couple things that you wrote and stuff like that. So yeah, I saw the Lions thing, and there was another football article. I can't remember right now off the top of my head.
Well, thanks for reading. But yeah, I mean, it's like one of the, like I said earlier, it's just like you got to find these random stances to take in the NFL. And Jared Goff being good 2 straight years. And if you remember last year, every trick play, every fourth down thing Dan Campbell did worked. And in a sport like football where you're only playing 17 games and you're pretty much flipping 17 coins, like if a few of those go wrong, those wins equal losses, and your season's completely fucked. So that's kind of how I got there on the Lions not making the playoffs.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, if anybody wants to go read the article, it brings up some compelling points. And like we talked about maybe at the beginning before we started recording, it's always good to have a different point of view to sort of, change your mindset. Because after a while, if you keep reading and listening to the same things or things that sort of support your priors, then you might not be putting yourself in the best position. So try to read some stuff that you don't agree with, or bring in some stuff that you're not familiar with to try and shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, the easiest way to put it is most people lose betting sports. So the best way to go about it is probably to think the opposite, or go into looking to prove your argument wrong. Like try to do that and how could I be wrong? Think of it from that perspective.
Right. Be as negative as possible. Just be a big,
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
So Chris, who do you have winning the AFC?
The Queefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be a chalk pick. Now Anthony and I did not discuss this, but we both have the Bengals winning the AFC. What about? I think we alluded to it earlier. You might even mentioned it. Do you have the Browns winning the AFC, Jeff?
Yeah, I got the Browns winning the AFC.
My goodness. That would be
I-
quite something.
Yeah. They're pretty much the fucking Midwest Jets. They're cursed too. So their fans, none of them think they're gonna win shit. But
I think
I'm a believer in Deshaun Watson and that coaching staff, and I think they get it done this year.
there would be a lot of people in the media who would be big mad if Deshaun Watson won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would.
Big mad.
I mean, hey, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, is he a sinner? Probably, but who hasn't sinned? You know.
You know what? I think there's levels. I think there's
Yeah,
levels.
fair enough. Dude, I'm just waiting for someone to call me out in my editorial call at Outkick about my Deshaun Watson fandom. Be like, well, what about Donald Trump? This motherfucker got pinched for 34 felonies. Deshaun Watson didn't get charged with anything. Like, why are we calling on Deshaun Watson?
Yikes.
Yeah, I mean, guy made some mistakes. Allegedly. Who knows?
He's
I
a
mean, he wasn't
tremendous
charged with anything.
athlete. He's the greatest.
Chris,
Deshaun Watson, we love him.
who do you have winning the NFC?
I have the Philadelphia Eagles flying high, taking the division.
So a rematch of the Super Bowl?
Absolutely.
Wait, wasn't this the last Super Bowl? Wasn't it a rematch of a rematch?
No, well, last Super Bowl was a rematch of 2020.
Okay, right. Okay.
And this one's a rematch of 2022. Oh, Chris's pick.
Oh, that's right, because the Niners last year. Sorry. I have the Bengals playing against the Lions. So Jeff and I couldn't be any more opposed on our view of the Lions this year. He's got to miss in the playoffs. I have him going to the Super Bowl. So we'll see. One of us is going to be
Again,
very wrong.
And I hate to be a bitch about this, but I could absolutely be wrong. I fucking love Dan Campbell. I like how they built their roster. I just don't believe Jared Goff is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And again, it's just weird shit happens. But like, if I'm wrong, I wouldn't be shocked. And like, that's not like I bet the Rams, I bet the Browns, but I also left myself enough wiggle room where I can change my opinion in the middle of the season. Like if I see it with the Lions, like I'll admit I was wrong and bet the Lions. Like I'm not gonna be stubborn because that's what will cost you the most money. Like I'm willing to change my opinion.
That's good advice right there. That's probably some of the best advice that we've uncovered here is that don't be stubborn. Be willing to change your opinion.
Yeah.
So I have the Lions. Anthony has the 49ers winning the NFC. So he's got Bengals, 49ers. Jeff, who do you have winning the NFC?
I'm gonna go with the Rams. I do think Matthew Stafford is the best quarterback in the NFC.
Oof.
I don't hate the Eagle. I frankly don't hate any of our answers. You know, you can make strong cases for the Eagles, Niners, and Lions, but like between the coach Sean McVay and the quarterback's weapons, I'll take the Rams at their odds.
Yeah, independent of this, and before we put this interview together, I bet a future on the Rams. So I do have a future on the Rams to win the Super Bowl this year. I have the Rams, I have the Bengals, and I want to say there's one other team, but it's escaping me right now.
Yeah, if I were to bet, I would probably bet the Browns. Or I already bet the Browns, excuse me. Browns, Rams, and I guess that's it. I don't want to do it with the Jets again, but they have a Super Bowl defense. They should. If Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, that team's gonna be nasty.
The Jets, we have to also understand that the Jets may have finally reached their final form, which is they've been disappointing their own fans for so many decades that now they're just disappointing everybody. Like they're disappointing every football fan because they They're now on the precipice of the edge of being good, but they're probably just going to disappoint people again. That way they can now disappoint not only their own fans, but all football fans, and, you know, maybe achieve Zen and disappear or something.
Yeah, well, to your point, they stepped up their disappointment to nationwide last year because everyone, the Jets played the Bills on Monday Night Football. The Jets were on Hard Knocks last year. Everyone was hyped up about Aaron Rodgers going on fucking Joe Rogan and Pat McAfee talking shit. And then 30 seconds in, he blows his Achilles, and everyone's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And you, David, as a lifelong Jets fan, like, no, this is what's supposed to happen. But everyone else is like, wait a second, why did this happen? Whereas all the Jets fans
it's true.
are just like, well, Jets fans we knew it.
Right. The Jets fans were the most able to deal with that. And the national media went berserk. The New York media, they were just like, well, you'll never guess.
Yeah.
You know,
dude,
of course.
So I went to college in St. John's University, which is in Queens. There's a lot of Jets fans. That's like Jets area. And I knew a lot of Jets fans in college, and Jets fans are my fucking favorite. No one hates the Jets more than Jets fans. No one.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious.
Right. Well, you may I submit to you, Jets media. The Jets media hates the Jets.
Same difference though.
The most.
Jets followers hate the Jets more than anyone else.
Yeah, you're right.
They're fucking cursed, dude. It's funny, but that shit always ends. Like, I don't know, we saw the Red Sox curse snap, the Cubs curse snap. Like, the Jets could have their day. I don't think it'll happen. I think they're a wild card team because I think higher of the Bills, but there's a world where they win the Super Bowl this year for sure.
Very fair. Chris, who you got winning the Super Bowl?
The Queefs.
The Chiefs. So you do have the
three-peat.
Wow. I would love to see it.
They're coming for it.
I would love to see it.
Coming for the three-peat.
That would be fun. Now that I have now that I didn't do this intentionally, but I was noticing yesterday that because of my dynasty team, I finally now have a rooting interest in Patrick Mahomes. So now I can start to actually enjoy this, you know, I can start to enjoy his greatness because, you know, it actually will, you know, help my team and stuff. I have the Bengals and Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase winning the Super Bowl this year. This is a little bit of a spicy pick, and you know, I think it's a little off the board. Anthony's got the 49ers, which is on the board. Geoff, who you got? We already know.
Yeah, I'm going with the Browns. I bet them at 40-1. They're 35-1 right now.
That is something, buddy. I hope you win that. That would be great.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
But
yeah, it'd be cool. It'd pay for rent for several months, so that'd be sick.
Nice. That's awesome.
But again, not to even cop out, I don't hate either one of our answers. I like the Bengals. Like, Joe Burrow is the fucking man. He's an alpha.
Easy to
I don't
root
hate
for.
that at all.
Easy to root for, the Bengals.
He's so cool. He's so obviously cool.
Yeah. I think we would be friends.
Isn't that his nickname, Joe Cool?
I think that was Joe Montana.
I think he's stealing it, though. I think he's the new Joe Cool, kind of like Make America Great Again is actually Ronald. That's actually Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan.
Or did he do Make America Great? I don't know.
He made yeah.
Either way, it's just a repurposed nickname. Joe Burrow's taking it now, and he's embodying it. He is fucking cool. He's one of the best NFL quarterbacks too. So I don't hate that pick at all.
Yeah, it. You know, I guess to put a bow on it, I'm hoping for a fun season. You know. Hoping for a fun season.
Well, that's where gambling comes in handy. Either way, I'm gonna have fun because I'll be betting it and I'll be fucking locked into the games.
So tell people how they can find you, where they can find your picks and your bets and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
how do we
your stuff?
Yeah, how do we absorb your stuff?
Well, I do the Outkick Bets podcast with Geoff Clark. Me, obviously. That's going to be every week until the end of the football season, really probably until the end of the basketball season as well. So firing it up every Wednesday or Thursday this week till mid-June. I'm also on the MSPH Mad Scientist Party Hour. That's what that stands for, that podcast with Kevin Kraft and Shuddy Boy. We have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/Mad Scientist. But it's also, we got to do a free episode every week. That's available on Apple Podcasts. So check that out at Mad Scientist Party Hour. And yeah, you can find my written work on outkick.com/betting. It's me and this other guy, David Troy, who is the fucking man. Love that guy. And we give out our picks every day in our betting analysis. But this has been a lot of fucking fun, guys. I love talking football.
That's awesome, dude.
Thank you. Me
Yeah.
too. I love it as well. Chris, you did a great job, man. You stuck with it, buddy.
It was an interesting conversation. It was fun.
Nice.
It wasn't like sometimes, and I don't mean this like in any negative way, but sometimes when like the conversation leans more towards sport, I kind of feel like school. Like I'm just kind of like, I don't have anything to add, and I feel out of place. But no, I felt because I had an assignment, I got the assignment done. It was fun.
Nice.
It was cool.
I wanted to hear more about your Vikings pick. I do not fucking see that.
Hey, listen, we'll talk at a later date.
I think David needs to talk to you about Sam Darnold.
Yeah,
You guys
the
need to have a
Vikings
conversation
pick,
about Vikings quarterback.
yeah, it's that one was a little bit of a off the board.
I have to be spicy. And listen, those boys, they leave it all on the field.
Sure.
They do.
Well, I mean,
They do.
look, if you're talking coaching staff, that's a guy who's going to put his players in the best position to succeed. It's just a matter of whether or not Darnold can make it happen. I'm going to be
Elite coaching staff. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
And they have the best offensive player in football, Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
See,
But
I knew that.
you said none of that, Chris. And so I wish that we could take some bong rips and hear your Vikings logic. I would love that. I would love to hear that.
We'll make that a part two.
Yeah, when we revisit the picks, we'll
Yeah,
have him try to
exactly.
explain himself.
But dude, Geoff, thank you so very much for taking the time and hanging out with us. It's
Yes,
much
thank you.
appreciated. I'm glad you and Dave got to finally meet.
Yes. Me too.
Yeah. And
We're down over football, dude. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks, fellas.
yeah, for sure. And dude, I've been a big fan for a while. Going to continue it, obviously. Check these guys out. They're on YouTube. Mad Scientist Party Hour. His own stuff. Outkick Bets with Geoff Clark.
Oh, I really like Sierra Leone at the Traverse Stakes this Saturday in Saratoga.
Hold on, I'm gonna write
It's
that down.
the 2-horse.
Well, this episode is going to be coming out in September, though. So
Oh no! All right. Well,
Hold on, say that again.
if I hit Sierra Leone at the Traverse Stakes, then follow all my football picks.
there you go.
Traverse Stakes. I'm right.
Sierra Leone.
Yeah. Sierra Leone, the number 2 horse.
Take a ride over to the sports book over at the.
for sure. I'm
the-
putting a couple dollars on that pony.
There you go. Nice.
But guys, thank you so much. You could find us every Wednesday on YouTube at youtube.com/the Two Clouded Mind Show. If you don't want to watch us and you just want to listen to us, you can get us anywhere you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, all that fun stuff. We're all over social media at the Two Clouded Mind Show. If you want to stalk us individually, I'm at Chris_is_not_funny.
DC in the city on all social media.
Geoff, one more time, where can they find you?
I'm at Jeffrey_Clark on Twitter, but just follow Mad Scientist Party Hour on Apple Podcasts and social media.
There you go.
Sweet. Guys, thank you so very much. And until next time, stay clouded.